December 14th at 6:31 p.m. Happy holidays. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Strong.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Present.
Stransky.
Yes.
Connie. Yes. Mayor Rodriguez.
Present. All right. We're on item number 2, public communications. So the City Council welcomes participation in its meetings. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes per person so that anyone has an opportunity to speak. Is there anybody here from the public that would like to address us on an item that is not on the agenda? Don't all jump up at once. Okay, having heard no public communication, I'll go ahead and close that portion of the meeting, and we're going to move on to public matters. We have a City Council 2023 Assembly and Reorganization. Let's see, moving on to that, we're going to move to adopt the resolution reciting the fact of the appointment of unopposed incumbents for City Council, the absence of a municipal election on November 8, 2022, and appoint incumbents to the City Council. And I'll turn it over to our City Clerk, Dolores.
If I can get Vice Mayor Connie and Councilmember Stransky to please stand and raise your right hand. I, Greta Connie, and Larry Stransky do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
I do.
Do you want him to sign now or later? I'll sign later. All right, congratulations. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. And then with that, I'm going to, Dolores, you'll continue because we're going to go through the actions of appointing a new mayor and a new vice mayor. Dolores, still yours.
I'm calling for nominations for mayor.
I'd like, go ahead.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
I'd like to nominate Councilmember Connie for mayor. I second it.
We have a nomination and a second. Can I call for a vote?
I vote yes.
Vote, Kathy? Do you call for the vote or
No, go ahead.
Councilmember Strong?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Moving around here.
Yeah. And then you're going to take over the next part.
Yes. Okay, it's now you.
Okay, so the next point of business is to nominate a vice mayor, and I would like to nominate Jerry Gonzalez.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Strong?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Rodriguez? Mayor Connie?
Yes.
All right.
Madam Mayor, can I take just a minute to thank our now past mayor, Rodriguez? I think she did an excellent job running the meetings this past year, and I wanted to recognize that in front of the public. And
You're here.
council.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I feel like I have big shoes to fill.
You guys are very sweet. And I know you'll do a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate your support.
Sorry about my cold seat.
All right, well, that is settled, and we'll see how this goes. Our next order of business is to hear an update from Fire Chief Carter from Little Lake Fire District.
Good evening. Thank the council for having me in today. So public speaking is not my strong suit. I'm just a firefighter, so if you guys will bear with me, we'll get through this. I'm still trying to build kind of a format that's, for you guys, what you guys want to hear, where we're at. So I kind of put this together a little different tonight with just some key bullet points. And I think if you guys agree this is good, I'll try to bring this kind of information to you in the future. And then we can, of course, ask any questions or answer any questions that you may have. So I like to start out with our calls to service. Here the last couple months, it's actually been, you haven't heard our sirens a lot, it's been kind of, I hate to say it even, it's been kind of mellow for us. So right now, as of the end of November, we're 548 calls to service, a little lighter than last year, which is good. It means the public's being safe and they're needing us less and less, which is a good thing. As you may or may not know, the burn ban has been lifted, so you see all the columns of smoke. Every year, it seems, we start the burn ban, lift it, and then every year we get the same kind of calls. We're really, really busy for a week or two. Usually it's the neighbor calling on the neighbor not knowing the burn ban's been lifted. Most of the time they're out of compliance for whatever reason. Usually it's a permit issue. They don't have their permit or didn't know they needed one, or it's compliance of what they're burning, the material they're burning. So I just want to push out there and tell your neighbors, tell your friends, burning's okay with permit, but it's only vegetative matter on your property. So the permitted address is your address. Whatever grows on your property, you can burn. You can't bring anything from the outside. You can't burn your neighbor's stuff. You can't burn your work stuff and bring it home. You can't take your home stuff to work. So just the address on your permit, vegetative matter only, no manufactured woods, nothing processed, nothing like that. So we run into it a lot. People don't seem to know. I'm shocked they don't know, but they don't know. So if we can push that out there, that'd be great. Around the firehouse, you may or may not noticed, our Bechtel Road substation, we put in a brand new parking apron. If you haven't seen it, I mean, it's a great apron. It's a little bigger than our last apron. It's a little more accessible for our new, larger engines. Our old apron was getting pretty beat up. We ran out of there for 2 years while this house was being built, and it was actually starting to hydraulic. You drive the engine over, you could actually see the concrete would lift and the water would kind of bubble around. So it was getting pretty bad. So it was time. Big project. Local Bueller Construction took care of it for us. Great job. We're very happy with it. Why we did it, we also put in, and we're hoping this is going to be a cost-saving thing, we put in a fuel tank, above-ground fuel tank for our engines. We'll be able to fill that tank at a discount, have it on hand. It is hooked to our generator for PSPS, things like that, so we can sell fuel, which we could never do that before. And plus, we get a little discount per gallon in that tank, so we're going to save some money in the long run, which is really, we're very happy about that. And it's up and running. We do have a training event coming up this Saturday, actually. The Howard Foundation, bless their heart, they're tearing down the old hospital. All the asbestos have been removed. The atmosphere is clear now. It's open. It's going to get knocked down here probably the first of the year, I think. But they've allowed us to go in. We're going to go in. We're going to do what's called ventilation operations and what we call break and breach, which is getting through walls, getting through doors, teaching our newer members that have not done that how to do that. Ventilation tactics for venting atmosphere, which is, we don't get an opportunity to use a real structure. We'll build a prop, put up a fake wall, put up a fake door, show them how to get through it, but to actually have hands-on in a real structure doesn't happen very often. I think I've done 2 in the last 15 years that I can actually cut a real structure apart. So we wanted to thank the Howard Foundation for this opportunity, and we'll be there Saturday from we're planning 8 o'clock until about 2. It'll go until we're done, but you'll see us up there. You see there'll be a lot of equipment up there. Brook Trails Fire, Ridgewood Ranch Fire, they're all going to join us. So it should be a really good training.
Will you be closing Madrone or?
No, the only access that won't be accessible is what we call Hospital Hill. So if you come up Hospital Hill, you won't be able to get, like if you're going to go to school, that one little piece of our ladder truck right there. But everything else will be open. So that's going to be fun. Can't wait. We do have some equipment changes. It's a long time coming, a couple of years actually in the making. But we're going to be replacing engine 5469, which is housed at this station. It's our 1994 F800. It's an old federal engine that's on loan from the federal government. And we've had it for years, so as long as I've been here and longer. But we finally got a USDA grant that's going to help us acquire the new Type 3 engine, so this one will be going back to the government, and then that one should be here, hopefully, if everything goes right, 3-4 weeks. And it's been a couple of years, like I said, in the making, but it is coming. And we've also, through a PG&E grant, we've got, which we've never had, a UTV, a utility vehicle from Polaris ordered. It's actually being built right now, but it could still be a few months, really, before we ever see it. But that was allocated through a PG&E funding grant that they gave to us after, I think it was 2 seasons ago now. So that's coming, hopefully in the next week. That'll give us some capabilities that we've never had before, which is really neat. That's all I got. That's where we're at today. Anything for me?
I do.
Sure.
Jerry Ward, Solid Waste. You mentioned the demolition of the Howard Hospital.
Yes.
Is that all coming to the transfer station?
I cannot answer that. I don't know exactly where it's going. I know they're right now they're doing the recycling part of it. So they're cutting out X amount's got to be recycled. That's what they're doing right now.
No, we can handle it. I just want to be prepared for it.
Right. That would be a question for the Howard Foundation. I really don't know.
Okay, thanks.
You said most of your calls, have they been medical calls as opposed to fire calls?
Well, they always are. Well, traffic collisions is one of our, unfortunately, things we do the most of. And then medical, of course, is in there too. Fires, honestly, is a small portion of what we see today. Thank goodness. But, yeah.
I was just thinking about today how I didn't have an emergency, but I was able to
Right.
seek you out for preventive measures,
Sure.
and it's really nice to be able to do that in a small community, to be able to call the fire department and say, hey, I want to make sure I don't have a hazard. And you guys were great to quickly check things out.
We're happy to do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief.
That's all? All right, thank you.
Mayor Connie?
Yes.
I need to have you call for a vote to adopt the resolution to install you and Larry and Ed.
Excellent. All right.
I do apologize in the excitement of.
We need a motion to adopt the resolution.
Yes.
Oh, second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution accepting the nomination of Greta Connie as mayor and Jerry Gonzalez as vice mayor?
No,
No.
Actually, it's appointing the incumbent.
Oh, that one. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Can I read the title?
Yes, thank you.
Resolution of the Willits City Council reciting the fact of the appointment of unopposed incumbents for City Council with the absence of municipal election on November 8th and installing appointed incumbents to the City Council.
We vote?
Councilmember Strong?
yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Connie?
Yes. Thank you. All right, so now we are ready to hear an update from Mendocino County 3rd District Supervisor John Haschek.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Congratulations on your re-election and election as the mayor. So thank you all for your public service. I'd just like to first start with thanking past mayor Sabrina Rodriguez and city manager Brian Binder for the last year we've been meeting monthly, and we've had, for about an hour and a half each time that we talk about the issues that are important to the city and the county and how they interface. And I think it's been really a productive use of time for all of us. And so I would certainly like to see that continue on.
That's the plan.
Okay, great. First of all, we passed Measure O, which was the library tax, and Measure P, which is funding for the fire districts and for fire prevention measures. And so that's very good news for the libraries and the fire districts. And, with the Measure P, we're expecting it to generate about $4 million a year. 90% of that will go to the fire districts, and that will be distributed as the fire chiefs decided in their meetings. And so they came up with a formula to divide that, so that will be about $3.6 million between the different fire districts. And then the other 10% will go to, like, the Mendocino County Fire Council. And so So that will be a lot of preventive work, home hardening and defensible space and all those kinds of good things that group is doing. So really, that's good news for our county. Yesterday in our board meeting, we had a long discussion about the budget. There's certainly been a lot of talk about it. We did get to a point where we balanced most of the budget. We still have some healthcare deficits that we're looking at, and we need to balance those in the coming year soon. But the solution for that was we were self-funded as, for the 1,200 employees, and we have gone to a plan. So that way we won't have the fluctuations that, we'll be in a bigger pool. And the pool will help us to keep more steady, knowable kind of expense. And we were having those problems for the last few years of not really knowing where we were going with it. And so that will be good. Yesterday there was also a discussion by Visit Mendocino, or the Mendocino County Tourist Commission, and they wanted to increase the BID, the Business Improvement District, from 1%, which they have for just the TOT, where the hotels, motels, and they wanted to increase it to 2% for those motel, hotel businesses, TOT, and campgrounds. But they also wanted to include restaurants and the breweries, wineries, and attractions such as the skunk train or the botanical gardens. And so that was a proposal. Supervisor Jurdy and I voted against it because we didn't think that the county was ready to increase taxes like that, especially taxes that would hit people in county. The other three supervisors voted to go ahead with it, and what it will do is it will allow the Visit Mendocino to start accessing some of our information about taxes to see, if it's viable for them. So it doesn't mean that they're going to increase the taxes right away. There's still a series of events that need to happen before that happens. But I just wanted to let you know because it would affect, the restaurants in Willits, right, and the breweries, those places. Okay, and then we are having meetings. And it's great to see everyone here live. But we've been having hybrid meetings since February, I think, and so people can call in. Even some of the supervisors call in on Zoom, and so that can, I think, they can happen until February, and then pretty much you have to have a quorum here. It's great to see what you're doing here. And lastly, the Great Redwood Trail. I'm on that board, and we are dealing with the 14 or 17 cars that are out here, and it won't affect whatever, we have the right of way now from Willits up to Samoa, and that is all being rail banked, but it will have no effect on the operations of the skunk train. And so I just want to let people know that we're going to deal with those extra cars that are out there, and whatever happens with the Great Redwood Trail, the skunk train will still be able to operate its business as normal. And with that, if there's any questions. Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, the cars you're talking about, are they the ones that are north of town here?
Right.
And I did notice some cars over here that showed up, or some engines and stuff over here. Did those come from up there, or were
Yes.
those from up there? Okay.
Yes.
But you still have the ones up there you still have to deal with then?
Yeah.
If I may,
Yeah.
there is an effort to remove that rolling stock. Apparently, at the last minute, someone came forward and said they own some of those engines and rolling stock, and they would like them back. So some of the trains and the units have been relocated onto skunk train tracks, and the other ones have been those are the ones that are essentially on Railroad Avenue. I think that's a holding pattern, The last word I received is that majority of these units will be removed by the beginning of February.
That's certainly the goal, and we did have that last minute glitch with it, so.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious, because it's been a while since I've hiked north to the highway from town, and I remember seeing those back when you could get a little in there before we got overgrown, so.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
okay.
And I just wanted to say that I've been following what's happening with the proposal from the Visit Mendocino, and I'm very concerned about, I thank you for yourself and Supervisor Jurdy for voting no on that issue. I'm really concerned about the potential increase in taxation to locals. I mean, we've already seen inflation going up, the cost of everything is going up, and now I feel like this is another level of taxation that, I get the idea is to bring in more revenue to promote tourism, but really you're talking about the locals who go out for dinner, or the working class who are going to get lunch during the lunch hour at our local restaurants, another level of taxation. And I think in the northern part of the county, we really haven't seen anything from Visit Mendocino that demonstrates that they're really investing in the northern part of the county. Maybe a little bit Ukiah, but it seems to me that it's mostly, the advertising is focused over on the Fort Bragg, Mendocino area over there, and at this point, I haven't seen any reason to support another level of taxation. So I'm interested in keeping up on what's happening with this particular issue with the county and where it's headed, and would want to know about any public hearings or whatnot that are happening. So I'm sure you'll keep us informed.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, following up on that, I actually have a concern, and I'm wondering if there's a required process beyond the vote that was just taken, is just to sort of look into whether it's feasible or whatever. But is there a whole process that's required in order to levy new taxes?
Yeah, there is a process. And so the vote we took yesterday was to do a non-disclosure agreement with this consulting firm that was looking into the taxes. And so it's one step down that road, but we'll see how it goes, and I'll certainly keep you informed.
Can I ask one question kind of related to that? I'm sorry. In your process, could you also delve into, there was a hit from COVID, and some of the businesses went away, some, especially restaurants, I've noticed some kind of changed, and I'd like to see whether or not there's been a recovery from that, or whether they're still recovering. It's kind of like, you kind of hate to kick somebody when they're down. So I guess in your studies, I would be interested in that.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are feeling like they've got kicked down and are just recovering, if at all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, in the sales tax report that I just read recently, in the sales tax report, statewide tourism from sales tax is up, but countywide, aren't we down something like 10.8%?
Yeah, I think it was 8% or something around there.
Something like that,
right?
yeah.
It was much below the state.
Below the state. The statewide, we're seeing an increase, but yet locally, we're seeing a decrease. So sounds like maybe the advertising that we have going on for our county is either, not effective, or something's not working, because we're not seeing the revenue that one would hope compared to the rest of the state.
So on this topic, the 4 municipalities in the county have concerns. Basically, the consultant that has been retained by county staff and Visit Mendocino has reached out to the 4 municipalities and asked for some specific TOT receipt activity. And we're a little concerned because there's some legality on that release and also a confidentiality associated with that information. We're concerned with exactly, I think, what we're hearing is this additional tax necessary, and what's the benefit? What is it going to return interior-wise, at least for our perspective here in Willits? And I know the other municipalities have echoed the same thing.
Yeah, one of the things, when this was brought up in June, we asked for return on investment study. And so we had Supervisor McGordy, we said, okay, go talk to people at UC Cooperative Extension and, try to figure out if we're getting a return on our investment. And then yesterday I asked about it, and he said that Visit Mendocino had worked with their consultant and were doing their own return on investment study. So, whether...
I think what happened was the trail to the cities has kind of went cold because we're concerned, and we haven't got some really clear answers from county staff and Visit Mendocino. So yes, we're monitoring it and seeing where it goes.
Yeah.
Thank you for your vote.
You're welcome.
Yes.
All right.
Anybody else have any more questions for Mr. Hudson?
Well, happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays. You as well. All right, that concludes, oh no, we have one more public matter. We have a presentation by Karen Matson from the Mendocino County Museum.
Well, I wanted to thank everybody for letting me come and speak tonight. The main reason why I'm here tonight is to introduce the survey that we have, and it's completely fine with the video. The video didn't load tonight, but it can load from your phone. So I just wanted to back up to give a little update about the Mendocino County Museum. One of the reasons I'm able to be here tonight is because we have a new curator. Her name is Lindsay Dick, and having her in place has allowed me to change my position to museum administrator, which is allowing me to do more work reaching out and connecting to the community. And I wanted to let everyone know that we've been working really hard for the last 5 years to take care of our collection. And all of the work that we have done has led us to a place where we are now participating in a strategic plan to plan for the future of the museum. And we have a lot of support from our museum advisory board, and we have support from the community to create this planning committee. And today we were able to upload our community survey. So we are at the place in our strategic plan where we're going out into the community and we're inviting feedback so that we can plan the future of the museum together. So if you would be so kind to participate in our survey, you can go to our website, and we have this jazzy little video that shows all these amazing things that have happened at the museum over the last year and shows all our hard work. And then the survey itself is really kind of questions that you would expect out of a survey. It's going to allow us to collect data about your thoughts, your past experience at the museum, what you'd like to see, hours, admission, how these things affect your experience. So I wanted to let everyone know about that. And then I also wanted to invite everyone to participate in one of our planned community forums that we're going to have. Right now we have 7 forums planned for the spring. We're going to have 3 at the museum. So we're going to have some that are like donuts and coffee, come talk to us, tell us what your thoughts are. We have some planned for evening in case you need to come after work. And then we're also partnering with our libraries. So we're going to go to Fort Bragg, we're going to go to Ukiah, and we're also going to go to Round Valley. And we're really digging deep to find out how we can be a part of this community of Willits and the greater community of Mendocino County. And we have a lot of really good ideas brewing, but we want to hear feedback from you. So that is essentially what I wanted to share tonight.
Do you have an idea how long the survey would take the average user?
The survey is 22 questions. There are only 3 that are designed for written content, so very short. And our jazzy video is under a minute. It's very short, and I recommend everyone watch it.
Is that something we should link from our Facebook or our?
I'd love that.
That's something we can
love
do.
that.
That way they have them up.
Remind me. Yeah. We will be issuing a press release in January and really working hard to get this out in January. This was actually gave me a goal to get it done by today so I could share it with you. And so we're really excited to be at this stage.
Any council members have questions for Karen?
Just one. I love the changes that always happen every so often in the Grand Hall where there's a new exhibit. And the Nuestra Alianza exhibit that you have right now is so colorful that it feels like it breathes a little bit of life into the museum. And it's just, if people haven't gotten in to see it, it's really wonderful. any insight as to what the next exhibit might be?
We actually have a traveling exhibit. It's called Gadgets Galore, and we are getting the panels from a company called Exhibit Envoy. And the exhibit allows us to pair the content with things that we have in the collection. So it's all on the history of household objects and ideas and inventions. So we're really excited about it because we have all kinds of hands-on old-fashioned things like the treadle sewing machine and the hand drills. So there's going to be a huge component that's going to allow everybody to kind of play together, multi-generations. We're going to sew things, we're going to make things. I think it's going to be a real hit with the community. And it's exciting because some of the text portion will make it easier for us to focus on getting a lot of our artifacts out. So it'll be our collection paired with text from someone else who's made it. So it's a win-win for us. And that will be up through August. So we're hoping to engage with our local schools, and then we're thinking it will be a really fun experience for families to come when they're visiting over the summer. And it'll open in the end of March.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and the Nuestra Alianza will be up through February 5th. And we're going to have a closing ceremony as well, which will be really fun. Our opening was amazing, and if you missed that, you should definitely come to the closing, because we had dancing and food, and it was just wonderful. Thank you, Karen.
I wanted to ask you about, I heard that there is I'm not quite sure what it's called, like a walking tour that's based on the Main Street Then and Now exhibit that was, and just tell us about that.
Yes, so that's actually on the website too. And basically what it is we've partnered with Kim Bancroft and Judy Burtis, who did the wonderful Then and Now exhibit. And what we did is we used their text and research, and we paired it with even more objects that we found in our collection that help tell the same story. And so it's kind of an interactive opportunity. You can use a scan card, and we've been giving out scan cards to the different businesses. And you scan it and you pull it up, and then you're at that site, and it takes you through the history as you're looking at pictures of the building and pictures of things like, I'm trying to think of a good example, like thermometers that advertise the Van Hotel, and some, just little quirky things we have in the collection. So right now we're thinking of it as a pilot program, because we wanted to get some feedback to how it's working and how we can get more people to use it. There are a lot more stops in Willits that we could add on. Recently we heard feedback that maybe some of the town further north would appreciate being on it. So we're looking at that. And then the other thing we're hoping is to, it's something that we could do countywide, because it's so, digital's the new thing. And if you do visit our website, we have a good portion of our collection that's available to look at online now too. So we have an online platform for that. So lots of exciting things at the museum. If you want to hear more about it, come visit me, and I'm sure I could take some time off your hands.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now that does conclude our public matters for this evening. The next item of business is enactment of ordinances, of which we have none tonight. Next up is the consent calendar. The City Council considers matters listed under the consent calendar as routine and will act with a single motion and roll call vote. A council member may request the removal of an item or items from the consent calendar for separate discussion and subsequent action. Tonight's items are City Council minutes from November 9th and November 28th, which was a special meeting. And we have the option to approve or deny those minutes. Would anyone like to make a motion?
A motion to approve?
Okay.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. May we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Strong? Don't we usually just ask in case there's any
Oh,
comment?
does anybody from the public have any comments they'd like to make on the minutes from the last few meetings? No. Thank you. All right, so may we call for the vote, please?
Councilmember Strong? Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Condon?
Yes. All right. right. Monthly activity reports. These are matters that do not require action by the City Council, but are of public interest. Anyone who would like to see the business license activity for November of 2022 may access it in the packet for this week's agenda. All right, item 7, commissions, agencies, and authorities. The Willits City Council meets concurrently as the City of Willits Planning Commission and City of Willits Successor Agency. We have no items on this committee. We now move to the city manager reports and recommendations, and there are a couple of items here. The first is a discussion and possible action to allow Solid Waste of Willits to apply a cost of living adjustment of 10.81% to all service accounts within the city of Willits starting January 1st of 2023. And we do have Jerry Ward from Solid Waste of Willits here to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. Congratulations to them who were brought tonight. Larry, how many years have you been on the council now?
Too many.
I mean, you add up your time and Virginia's time and your son's time, it's got to be in the 20s, 30 years.
It's, Virginia and I have been on it since the 80s.
Yeah. Anyway, congratulations. Thank you. Guess 4 more years are for you. Anyway, you received my letter of November 3rd requesting our annual rate adjustment. Includes a cost of living, cost of fuel, an adjustment in the recycling commodity pricing, and then pass-through rate adjustment through the landfill tipping fees. So, unfortunately, it is large. We've all experienced some significant increases in cost of living. It was U.S. city average was 8.3%, but by the time we take 90% and take out the fuel component of our financial statements, it was down to about 5.5%. Fuel, this council approved back in April a increase, and I appreciate that, was about 1.6% increase in fuel. We decided at that time we would look at fuel from February to the end of July, and if it went up or down, we would adjust it for this rate adjustment procedure. And unfortunately, fuel kept going up, and I have to report that fuel after July even goes up. I mean, it's finally, I think, dropped in November. Good news was that the recycling commodity component did decrease rates by a little less than 1% due to the increase in value of recyclables. Although, as a commodity, like anything else that's going up, it still can go up or down. And we're anticipating lower pricing now, but we won't review that again until 4 quarters from now. And then again, the transfer station at the increased its rate due to fuel and cost of living as well. So I'm here tonight to answer questions and ask for your support in the rate adjustment. And I'm sorry it's higher than the past, but I think we've experienced these kind of costs with fuel and cost of living in quite some time.
A question for Jerry regarding your labor costs gone up.
Well, labor did go up. We were losing drivers because of the hourly rate, but I'm only down 1 driver right now, so that's good. We were down 3, and then on top of that, with the COVID issues, we were losing drivers not because they were getting COVID, but their children had come home and have it. Because of the process, they had to quarantine as well. And, that put a difficult situation. But we've got our salaries up, and we haven't lost anybody, but everybody was poaching everybody else's drivers, and they're hard to come by, especially ones that can pass a drug test.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question. So I had forgotten that we given you a slight fuel cost increase back when those prices were skyrocketing and have continued, and now they're finally coming down. But
Finally.
And then a number of months ago, we increased your pass-through costs for the cold
Concrete compost, yeah.
What I was wondering is this percent increase on top of those other increases that we made during
Yes,
the year?
yes. The increase in September was 0.98%, and I worked out a deal with Coal Creek Compost that they would not raise their rate, their cost of living rate, until January of '24. So there's no rate adjustment for '23. Because I didn't think it was fair to have an increase in September from $37 a ton to 60, and then have a cost of living 3-4 months later. So no, it's already been factored into the rate.
So, but if you had compared the rates that you're now proposing for beginning January 23 to what they were in January of 22.
They would be about 12% instead of 10.
Okay. So
Because of fuel, basically.
yeah, it is unfortunate, but I think you've done a good job of documenting what your actual costs are, and it isn't an unreasonable request. It's just that we're concerned about the consumer, our residents.
The county, our county franchise areas are going up 13%. No, I don't like it. It's not like I'm making more money. We're just trying to keep up with the inflation. The other factor of it, and I'm sure it's a benefit for the city, but your franchise fees are going up $25,000 a year too. So that's a benefit for the city.
I have one other question, which is not really related to your rate increase, but briefly, what is the situation with recycling? Do we actually get to recycle? Is there a place that it goes when you do your newspapers and your mixed paper?
Oh yeah, it goes. We have good brokers to deal with.
Yeah.
And we've got a good reputation. We have a very clean material that comes off the line. We have 16 people working the line. And so when the brokers contact us, they know they're getting a good product for us. So when things were real bad, when China cut us all off, we still have the opportunity to get rid of the materials where a lot of places were having a real difficult time. So I'm really proud of the guys that do the sorting. They do have a clean product. There are some issues like 3 through 7 plastics. There's not a real big market for it right now. In fact, it costs money to get rid of it. But I haven't gone to the community and say, please don't put number 3 through 7s in your cart, because I'm hoping that the price will get better one day. And I hate to tell people they can't do it and then a year later tell them, oh, it's okay to put it back in the cart. They're still going to put it in the cart anyway. And then you should know that Willits and Lakeville are the only 2 buyback recycling centers in the county. And we've been operating that through COVID. We're paying out about $9,000 a day in cash from people not only from the Willits area, but from Humboldt County, Lake County. There's just no other buyback, so they're bringing it all to Willits or Laytonville.
Why is that, Jerry?
Because it's not cost effective for these small little recycling centers to operate. We have the advantage in Willits because we have the material recovery facility. All the material we collect from the plastics and aluminum, we can bale it and then run it through our other materials that we collect. So that's a big benefit. With these other smaller places, they collect it, they pay it out, but then they have to transport it to a facility like ours. And then we end up charging they end up giving a processing fee plus the transportation fee of getting into a baled form. You can't sell the material until it's baled. Or in the case of glass, we have end dumps. We haul 20,000 pounds, 30,000 pounds of glass down to the Bay Area twice a week. Those kind of people wouldn't have the ability to do that. So yeah, these places that are in the malls or the parking lots of some of the stores, they just can't help. They can't.
Because Ukiah isn't doing it.
Ukiah's not doing it either. Now, I will say that the county went out and the city of Fort Bragg went out to bid July 1st with a new contractor. Waste Management is no longer in our county, and CNS Waste Solutions was the low bidder, although I think I was a little bidder in Fort Bragg. But under their contracts, they have to open a buyback center in Fort Bragg and Ukiah. Now, here I'm waiting for this to happen. It's been 6 months and they haven't opened one yet. They're still determining where to put them. They're not easy to site with all the traffic issues and storage issues and things like that. So we're very fortunate to have ours operating. And like there's a lot of people are dependent upon that revenue to come in. And we're paying out a lot of money. So besides the fact that, we have, 80 employees too. Yes?
I was looking through here, kind of trying to figure out cost comparison in terms of how much the rate has gone up, say, over a 5-year period, because we know that you've got this one and then there were 2 previous. Just thinking back roughly over the last 5 years.
I don't think we've had more than a 2%, 2.5% increase in the last 5 years as an average. We've hit some really difficult. Coal Creek Compost was pretty much a cost of living, but you go from $37 to $60. That only equated to a 0.98% in the rate. But still, there's a lot of factors going into it. The fuel and cost of living. Cost of living last year was only less than 2%, for the 22 rates. So, but I would say over 5 years it's been less than, or average 2.5% with all the components.
Okay.
This is just a bad year. Larry's been here since the 80s, but I don't recall ever having a rate adjustment like this high.
Well, I was just kind of, to be honest, I was kind of comparing you to other businesses and how much other businesses have had to raise their rates, and then even thinking about my own business in terms of how much my costs have gone up, and then in comparison how much my rates have gone up. And my payroll has gone up 30%, while my rates have only gone up like 5 to 10%, depending on where you're at in a tier.
Yeah, I got a double whammy
So I'm
with
sure
fuel and cost of living. Fuel, our fuel was up over $30,000 a month, in the middle of the year. That's a lot of cost.
And you're trucking things down to the Bay Area, right?
Our garbage goes to Potrero Hills and Solano County.
I think I passed some of your trucks on the way down.
8 loads a day. But yeah, the fuel has really been our biggest issue. But like I said, well, hopefully next year with the pricing going down, we'll have a reduction in the rate because fuel will be lower. Next year we're going to be comparing $6.47 a gallon to hopefully something in the 2s or 3s or 4s again. So that's going to be a large reduction in the rate.
So you're suggesting that at some point you might come back before council requesting to reduce the rate for our...
Well, we could, yeah, but I'm just saying typically when we come in for the annual rates, we could, you'll see a much better situation next year.
I think he's implying it would be a less of a raise. If
Gotcha.
Maybe no increase if we see some savings in future.
That would be nice. But we have lost, you'll see it from our financial statements when we present them to the council and the city manager in May, that we're on the I think at the end of the year we're going to lose $470,000. And overall, for our overall operations. Part of that will be the city, part of it will be the county, part of it will be the transfer stations, but it's been difficult. The bank's still working with me because they understand the situation that the refuse companies are in, but it's been I'm a little worried about it. The other thing I'm concerned about in the future, and hopefully it won't bring it too much sooner, but the CARB, or the California Air Resources, are going to be tackling, they really want us to go to electric vehicles, but I don't see that happening in my lifetime. But that is the direction that the state would like us to go. We can't do CNG because that's compressed natural gas, because there's no facilities around for that. So we're just going to have to keep doing it with diesel.
How many employees do you employ in Willits here?
Well, we have 80 total, and there's about 10 on the coast.
Or
they're all full-time jobs, yeah.
Full-time jobs.
Full-time plus overtime, because we don't have enough people.
Okay.
I've got a couple of people doing double routes each day. But anyway, about 70 probably in the Willits
in
area.
the Willits area.
Yeah. Our payroll's over 4 million. We're one of the larger employers in the city.
Are there any other questions from council before I open it up to the public? Would anybody from the public like to ask any questions to Mr. Ward or to the council? Okay.
I just thought I wanted to thank you so much for doing weekly green bins
Yeah, thank you.
during November, and I put my green bin out December 1st thinking it would
Oh.
squeak on the, didn't work.
I told the drivers if they had anything that they saw to pick it up, but I also informed the office if anybody calls and says, hey, I put my bin out and it didn't get picked up, I told them to go back and pick it up.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Because they don't know who's going to be doing it. Of course, they tell me that, well, I think everybody's pretty well done, and I think we're okay, and then...
That week, it was pretty intense.
Yeah, I felt bad because I told my neighbor to put their bin out. I did mine, and we ended
So
up...
please just tell them to call the office, and we'll pick it
But I
up.
appreciate that you did that. That's
Yeah.
really made a difference.
I'm hoping that helped his department not have to deal with all the leaves that get thrown in.
There's still a lot in the streets, I saw.
Oh, it looks like John has a...
People would break them out into the street.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Jerry. You know, we did 6 free dump days working with Caltrans for the Clean California in Cobolo in August. And I think they're planning on doing it in Willits in the springtime, March.
Yeah, I presented that to Ms. Bender about having a bulky waste pickup. I would think it would be best to do it in the spring. We'll be able to provide that for the residents. And we can talk about it at a future meeting, how the details, but we're ready to move on that.
All right, would anybody like to make a motion?
I would like to make recommended motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to allow Solid Waste of Willits to apply the cost of living adjustment of 10.81% to all service accounts within the city of Willits starting on January 1st of 2023. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Strong?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Stern?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes, and just to point out to the public, we pay those rates too, so...
Mayor Condon?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the excellent service you offer to our community. And I will say, if anyone has not visited the facility, it's well worth it. I did that, and it's quite an operation. Impressive to see the sorting and everything that gets handled there.
Yeah, they enjoy doing those.
Yeah, very impressive.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Bender, do you have any business reports?
No specific business items. I just want to note that we're going to finish out 22 and high, both staff-wise, and I want to just comment. We had a good year with staff. A lot of great things have been accomplished, and we're going to be rolling into 23 foot to the floor and looking at a whole bunch of new items starting in January and February. So I'm glad we have the council established and we're moving forward. So thank you.
All right. Department recommendations. The first item is an adoption of resolution extending the abandoned vehicle abatement program, and we have Police Chief Fabian Lizarraga for us this evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a recommending an adoption of the agreement between ourselves, the city, and the county. The county manages the AVA program, which is Abandoned Vehicle Abatement Program, which the contracts run every 10 years. This one's about to run out this year at the end of this month. So we're recommending an extension of that, an agreement to the contract with them, which will extend it to 2032. And basically it deals with vehicles that go beyond the ones that we can tow because of no registration or being parked in excess of 72 hours without movement. This is a vehicle that has just basically been abandoned. some of them, are totally stripped. We've used them for some mobile homes that we just cannot find the owner, that we've given plenty of notice to. And then we've used them to get them off our streets, get them out of public view. And the program basically reimburses the city for that, for the tow, which is very expensive. They can run them anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 sometimes for a tow. So they do reimburse us for that, and keeps us as an active participant in the program. The county manages and spreads the money out, shares it out with the municipalities as well as the county itself. So we recommend that we keep going. Have any questions? Try and answer. Yes.
Are they still limiting us on how many mobile homes?
Generally, it's 3 per year. So we try to be very selective and use it for the ones that we can't get a hold of anybody and it's really a nuisance. We used it on one that was out on Railroad by the tracks, and it was basically, it was a different person using it for shelter or for using stuff inside, and we'd always find somebody else different. So we finally managed to get the AVA to tow it.
Where do they go? Where do they get towed to?
They get towed to Ukiah dismantlers, and they get some kind of money for selling it as scrap and all that.
So they have to take the wood and all the non-recyclable stuff, and those go to, I think, like solid waste or those places.
Get rid of all the fluids and all that might be on there.
Then it's the metal that gets recycled.
During that period of time when we didn't see any activity with the abatement program, we started to see more vehicles around our community, and I would not want to go back to that time when things were like that, and so I definitely support this program.
It's a very good tool for us to be able to use when it goes beyond our regular toll services.
I agree. We really need to do this.
I'd like to make a motion to support this resolution.
I second it.
Does anybody from the public have any questions or comments they'd like to make about this resolution? Okay. We have a motion and a second for the adoption of a resolution extending the abandoned vehicle abatement program. And we have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Shaw?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is the possible adoption of a resolution accepting the construction completion of the Groundwater Resiliency Improvement Project Phase 1, Project 2022-03, and authorization filing the notice of completion. Staff member, project manager, Andrea Troncado to present.
Good evening. Tonight I'm presenting the closeout of Phase 1 of the Groundwater Resiliency Improvement Project. The project upgraded 3,600 feet of raw water pipeline in the groundwater system with 10-inch HDPE pipe. The section that was upgraded replaced an old undersized irrigation line that was utilized during the emergency project in 2014. With this upgrade, the entire raw water pipeline is in the groundwater system is now appropriately sized and up to current standards. Environmental mitigation measures were employed during the construction to minimize impacts to the wetlands, and construction was completed in compliance with 401 and 404 environmental permits from the Regional Water Quality Control Board and Army Corps of Engineers. Construction was successfully completed at the end of October for a total amount of $466,880. The city contracted with Laco Associates for preliminary engineering, preparation of the environmental documentation and permitting, grant administration, and construction engineering. The total cost of Phase 1 of the project, including engineering and permitting, was $681,780. The city was awarded a Proposition 1 IRWM grant for $551 $551,000. And so the city will be reimbursed for project expenses up to that amount, leaving $130,780, which will be paid for from the water fund. With construction complete, staff now requests approval of a resolution accepting completion of phase 1 of the project and authorization for the city manager to execute and report a notice of completion.
Question. How long, it sounds like we're reading the staff report that we're going to pay for it out of the water fund initially and then apply for the reimbursement. How long before we get reimbursed?
We are, there's an approval of a project monitoring plan. So once that approval goes through, I expect reimbursement to take a few months.
Okay.
Any other council members have questions for Andrea?
What about the holding tank? Is that in phase 2 or?
Yeah, so staff is now working with Laco Associates on the subsequent phases of the project, which include pump upgrade and the 250,000 gallon contact tank. So they're preparing procurement documents, plans and specifications for procurement of the tank.
Is it going to be concrete or is it going to be metal?
It will be a steel tank.
Steel tank, okay.
Riveted
Thank you.
steel. Riveted steel.
Yeah.
Riveted.
It'll be bolted.
Bolted, riveted.
And do you know when phase 2 will begin, just tentatively?
So we had a meeting about it today, and we are targeting February for bringing approval forward to council.
Is there further grant funding to reimburse some of that cost of phase 2?
No, the grant will be expended through phase 1 of the project.
Okay, so then that'll be on our water fund at that point?
It will be.
Okay.
And we've budgeted for that stage of the project. We're assessing costs and getting an engineer's estimate together for the tank, because the steel prices have been fluctuating quite a bit. So if needed, we'll bring a budget amendment forward at the mid-year to cover the cost of the second phase.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone from the public have any questions or comments? We have a motion from Mr. Stransky. Anyone have a second?
No second.
Jerry? We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Strong?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Stransky?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Conley?
Yes. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
So once again, I just want to note the efforts of Andrea and Scott there and our consultant, Rod Wilburn, city engineer on this project. The construction was heavily involved and they did a good job in monitoring the site and the conditions.
Thank you.
All right, item 10, we have department monthly reports. Anyone who is interested is welcome to peruse these in the packet. They are extensive and detail the work done by the various city departments, airport, community development, engineering, finance, police department, public works, and utilities. And we're going to start out and ask Ms. Kathy Moorhead if you have any reports on the airport.
The only thing I'd like to add to my report is that we are moving forward, starting a new year, with our quarterly update tenant meetings, and we have scheduled our first one for January 19th at 5 p.m. at the airport. If anybody'd like to attend, please do. We try and do these, we're going to try and do these every quarter.
We invite them, some of them come, some don't come. Is that-
Yeah, it's whoever, the emails go out to all our
And
tenants.
where do we hold them at?
At the airport, at the pilot shack. We send them in, we give them updates on what we've been doing and what we're planning for the future. We like to keep them updated, that way they know if something's going on up there, and, because they're gonna call us anyway and say, what's happening? So,
Could you send us a little reminder of when that is?
I can do that. That's all I have. Thank you.
I don't see Dusty here tonight.
No, he's not going to be here, so I can answer any questions the council may have on community development.
Anybody have any questions?
I just noticed that the construction at the California Conservation Corps is going gangbusters out there, so
It's going.
Yeah.
It's big time.
exciting how fast it's going.
One item regarding community development, I believe a email message went out to council members as the general planned amendment / update component or specializing on the land use element is gaining strength. We are putting together a working advisory committee, and we would like to have at least, or 2 council members present. So if anyone is interested or is curious of what that entails, please reach out to Dusty or myself.
I was interested, but I didn't know if there were other council members that might also be interested.
Sabrina, you sit on the Revive Ed committee, do you know?
I do.
And does this fall under that, that committee's discussion?
Not really. This is probably more along the lines of like more of the vision in terms of planning, well, land use, a little bit different.
I just remember when I was on it years ago, this definitely came up, this sphere of influence came up multiple times, and I just wondered if you had talked about it recently.
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it too.
Yes, and that was a nice response that you provided.
Is anybody else interested? I mean, because if somebody's like really interested and they'd rather, I can back away, but I am interested, so.
Once again, this is important. We're updating a document that is looking at current and existing growth opportunities, and we haven't done this in 30-plus years. It's timely and it's overdue.
Yeah.
Is this going to be including with the county?
Yes, to a certain degree, LAFCO, additional neighboring entities and organizations. So there will be outreach to those groups as well and organizations.
Because they've really been kind of stiff with the realm of influence. So I hope the county starts to think serious about it. Thank you, John.
That was very pointed to you, John.
I know John from that high.
Pull no punches, Stransky over here.
Yeah.
All right, well, put me down then.
Okay, I will let Dusty know of your interest, and he'll reach out to you and give you the specifics on the meetings and what to expect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Or Andrea, do you have any additional items that you would like to add to your report from engineering? No. Okay. Council members?
Actually, not for Andrea, but...
All right. Next up is Finance Department. Manny, do you have any additional items you want to point out?
One, we have a new hire, an accountant, Adam Ladd, and he looks like to be a good addition to the department. Additionally, we have started talking to the respondents to the RFP, and we're looking at Thursday, January 19th as being a date to review the applicants that have been to the second round.
So once again, let me just be clear, the RFP those responses are to the RFP we prepared, soliciting responses for municipal accounting software update. So that is basically the accounting side, payroll, the other modules that would be part of that system. So we're going to be updating basically our accounting and billing and our internal software for the various departments for the first time in several decades as well. So it's a big effort.
Excellent. Any questions from council? Thank you, Manny. Police Department, Chief Lizaraga?
Nothing to add to the reports. Just kind of a heads up, it looks like we are going to have a lighted Christmas truck parade. I'm not sure what the official title is, but it looks like it's going to happen on Saturday, starting around 6. The route looks like it's going from the Evergreen Shopping Center north on Main, and it's going to turn east on Commercial. and then they'll disperse from there, no rally points or anything. Once they make the turn on Commercial, they'll go on their ways. We will not be blocking off intersections. They are going to be obeying all traffic signals and traffic patterns, but we will be monitoring just to make sure that the community and the vehicular traffic is safe and flowing. But just so everybody knows, they're probably going, supposed to start at 6. I anticipate 6:30, 6:45 it should be over and done with.
And what day is that?
Saturday, this Saturday, 6.
And Chief Carter has informed us that the fire district is going to be performing that same presence as well for traffic and
Initially, we were going to, but it turns out that due to the fact we're going to follow all traffic laws,
Okay.
we will not be needed for that. We'll be out, we'll be in it.
Okay.
We'll have a couple of units in it, and we'll be out partaking in it, but we will not be fulfilling any type of role in it other than participating.
just in case there's a worst case scenario, you'll be on the scene.
Around if somebody-
Yeah, okay.
And will you have lights?
Well, we say they're going to get our older apparatus out, either our MAP or our muster or both, so I'm hoping.
No, that fireman always wants lights.
White lights already.
The day of too, so it's a time constraint problem, so we'll see how it goes. We'll be there.
Do we have a general idea of how many entries are in this first annual?
No, we do not.
I was told 30.
30, okay.
Wow.
I showed up last Saturday and it wasn't happening.
You missed the Facebook post.
You're right.
Any other questions from council? Okay. Thank you. And we now have Public Works.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to our newly appointed leadership, and thank you to those who guided us through 2022. I feel like we're in a good place as an organization and as a community. We have a lot to be proud of. Not a lot to add as far as updates. I'm sure you've seen the crews out and about the last few weeks. We've been with that athletic season and park season kind of coming to a close for the year. We've been focusing on the streets. So there's been a lot of pothole patching, a lot of sidewalk treatment, and a lot of leaves. So we've got the sweeper running 2 days a week. That's Thursdays and Fridays, and those are double shifts. So we have an operator show up as early as 3 in the morning, and he goes till about noon, and then another operator takes over for the remainder shift of the day. So we've been doubling our efforts. Sir?
We have a hedge and no curb in our area. If we just take our rake and rake out into the street, then it's easier for the sweep sweeper to grab them as they go up. Is that legal just to do it that way?
It's not typically encouraged because there's a fine line between cleaning the gutter out and helping the sweeper, and a lot of people see that.
No, it's not the gutter, it's just on the street. They can't get over close enough to the hedge or whatever. And so if we rake it out and spread it out so that they don't get blobbed all at one time, that's good.
Yeah, it's hard because a lot of people have low-growing vegetation, so that's always helpful if people kind of bring it out into a little windrow, so when the sweeper goes by. Absolutely.
I was impressed that the crews, they knew it was going to rain the next day. Street sweeper was out working hard, and then here they were with a truck and shovels, and they were shoveling up all the leaves throughout town, trying to just eliminate as much as they could, and specifically in areas that they knew the drainage would block up and cause flooding.
It's a preemptive effort when we have a wet event coming at us, that we get out and we double down on the cleaning, because that, like you said, it ends up in the storm drains. That attributes to your localized flooding, so that's our mitigation efforts.
And then today I walked in and I got to see the new counters in the city office here, and
They're nice.
yeah, they look really nice, and maybe our city manager wants to elaborate on where that wood came from, or you do, Kenan.
I think I'll defer to Kenan. That was his project.
By the removal at the Babcock Park. So that was a long time coming. The wood had to be cured, it had to be seasoned and kiln dried to provide a proper surface without checking or cracking. But that was an idea that Brian and Kathy came up with to kind of showcase. We are a lumber town, we're a redwood town, and that was a part of our history. So it's sort of a way of honoring that memory of that tree and the history that we have.
Yeah, it was nice to walk in, and it isn't just a beautiful redwood counter, but you're thinking about the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
there's
thinking
a
about the
history.
history behind it, so.
And there's some benches to come and some other things too to kind of help tie it together, but it just shows that we're mindful of our heritage and recycling when possible and repurposing and reusing things from our past.
And more importantly, as well, it also softens, you know, the aesthetics and the appearance of the business office. You know, you want to touch it. You want to touch that wood. You want to feel that grain. So, you know, it was a great addition to the project, and it adds more than, you know, the value that it adds to the overall scheme of things is amazing. And I'm glad that, you know, Ken was able to work on the tree, removal of the tree, oversee that, done it safely. And then Davey working through permitting and getting the contractor involved. It was a nice joint team effort. So everything was good.
An excellent salvage effort.
Yeah.
Definitely.
A quick question, is the sandbag station still going to be over here at the?
It is. It's there now.
It's there now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we set it up prior to this big rain event because we had a lot come down, and we wanted to give residents of the community a chance to fortify their properties and help with their drainage issues. So that's, in the past, it was kind of a county-city split. We used to get the FEMA grant, paying for a large pile of sand every year. So we used to put it there. There was a pile in Ukiah at Freeman Brothers. But that's kind of gone by the wayside. So that's something that Scott and I still try to provide for the community, just because it's something that a lot of people rely on. If your house is below grade and the road sits higher than your property, there's no way to stop that water otherwise. So it's generally appreciated by the community when they need it. So we make it available.
Very much so.
Not on the same large scale as it was before, but we still try to provide some when we can.
I wanted to go back to the leaves really quickly and just say that there was a day right when we had that first cold snap. I was walking to work and it was literally noisy from the sound of leaves falling on the ground, just leaves.
Oh my goodness.
And still, I was getting comments from people in the bookstore at how nice our streets looked. And so people are definitely noticing that the street sweeper is out and doing an excellent job. So please let the crew know that it's seen by the community.
I will convey all your appreciations to the crew. They work hard to take care of the city, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, and last but not least, utilities.
Yeah, I just have one update. I'd like to congratulate Adam Simmental, who last week passed his grade 1 wastewater exam. So it bumps him up and allow him to eventually go on call.
Yay for him, he's going to be excited too.
Be careful what you wish for.
Right.
It's a process, so.
Scottos.
Good accomplishment.
Nice week, and Caleb is scheduled to take his attendance.
I was just thinking about how every time there's brown water and you're sitting there, we're like, why is there brown water? But when there's no brown water, we're quiet. So I haven't heard any complaints. So I'm assuming there's no brown water and things are going well. Is that true?
Yes, we have had few complaints.
Few complaints since the last flushing. Things are going well.
But we've also not had any big leaks or hydrants hit. So
Okay.
That helps as well.
Okay. Well, we're really
But
happy
we're gearing
about
up
that.
For the next season. We'll monitor reservoirs and see what we can get going on that. So we're ringing up all our equipment for the next flushing period, probably typically February.
Yeah, I just wanted to add another compliment to several others that have been mentioned, and that was Tom Mann over at Brick House was just telling me how he sees the city being so well maintained, and that there's a feeling of ownership and pride, and not only with residents, but the staff pull together and really are happy to be doing their service to our community. So anyway, the community is really noticing this, feeling that things are being well taken care of. So thank you, including to Brian Bender for his leadership there.
Team effort, team effort.
Scott, question, with all these, well, not all this rain, but all the rain we've had so far, how are we doing at the reservoir?
Well, currently, that was as of
75% before?
Yeah, 75%. I didn't get a reservoir total today after the last rain. It usually takes a couple days, a week to really see the effects once it comes in. So the next meeting I'll have a better update, but I think we're pretty close to Centennial going over the spillway. We already were pretty close there at the capacity.
It's reassuring. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for your reports. I'm sure it seems like the month passes very quickly until you have to do another one of these, but we do read them and they are very appreciated. It really illuminates what you all work on all month long, and I certainly feel like it's been a huge improvement as a council member getting those reports and feeling like I know what you're up against and what you're accomplishing, so we do appreciate it. All right, let's see, we have City Council announcements, communications, and reports. And we'll start with Mr. Stransky.
I've been going to a couple of meetings of the Chamber of Commerce and trying to get the north and the south to blend in with each other a little bit better than it has for the last few years. And so in fact, I took Brian out last week and we went to the south end of town and talked to a person at the other end of town at the hardware store. And I think that things are going to go a little bit smoother, and not because I'm there, but because all sides are talking. And so anyhow, I'll keep you informed of it. Thank you very much.
Yes, I want to report that I'm very disappointed with Mendocino Solid Waste Management Authority. We had set a goal to do the contracting to get the service up and running again through a private contract with C&S. And unfortunately, for reasons that I don't even understand, the contracts are still in the ether someplace. I have not seen proposed contracts. And we were supposed to have a meeting in November. It was canceled. We were supposed to have a meeting tomorrow. It's also postponed. So I'm gathering that we're going to have 2 new board members on the Solid Waste Management Board, and they're going to have to deal with the aftermath of this last year, which has been pretty horrible. But in the new year, I'm hoping we will have a contract. We will be able to start providing the services that we're supposed to provide to the entire county, instead of only having the facility in Ukiah be the only place people can take their toxic and solid waste that doesn't go into the garbage. So it's very disappointing to me, but with 2 new people coming on, 2 of the board members are no longer eligible, I feel like I have to hang in there and do the best we can to get a new system functioning in the new year. Anyway, I know that we're all very disappointed they have not been able to have remote pickups for toxic waste all year, basically. So that's a sad report. And on the other hand, Economic Development and Financing Company is doing very well. They're reviewing a lot of loans. The loan payment is something like 1% of the loans are in any kind of trouble, being late paying back. So things are going really well, and I think the management of that staff there at EDFC has been really successful in getting businesses loans and keeping them open and giving them advice on how to do that. And so that's been a pleasure to do that. One other committee or agency that I was on the alternate as the city rep to the Sonoma Clean Power Board. And Sonoma Clean Power is, as most of you know, both Sonoma and Mendocino County. It is a public agency. It is run by a board of directors, which has representatives from both counties and the cities in both counties. And they've been doing remarkable work to provide us with sources of electricity that are greener than what PG&E does, and to keep their rates even with or slightly below PG&E rates for that electric power. And it's possible that I'm willing to become the representative of Mendocino cities, but that hasn't happened yet. But in the new year, there will be new appointments to the Sonoma Clean Power Board, and I just find what they're doing to be really fascinating and inspiring for trying to reduce our greenhouse gases and be responsible citizens of the world. So I really like that agency. Those are my three.
Is that pending the City Select Committee meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
It depends on it.
I haven't had anything significant that hasn't already been reported with my boards and commissions, but I did want to take an opportunity. The city had the holiday party, and it was a different kind of holiday party, but I think it really made me think about like the city as a whole, how we're trying new things, right? We've got this vision and everybody's working hard to like figure out how to make the place that we live in a better place. And sometimes things turn out just a little bit different maybe than what we expect, but we always move forward with a good attitude and try and really, I see that look on your face.
I wasn't there.
I know you missed out. Anyway, I know that there's a lot of change that's happening, and I appreciate the willingness of the city staff to kind of go with it at times and see that there are different ways for things to get accomplished, and there's room for growth, and that I know this last year I felt like as a council we have grown, and I've seen the city staff making changes, and sometimes I know that those changes are challenging and they can also be uncomfortable, but I think that together collectively we're all working towards a vision to make this a community that we all can be proud of and enjoy living in. And so I just want to thank each of you for your contribution and making that happen. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership, Brian.
Thank you. Like I said, it's a team effort.
It is a team effort. And
I didn't pick the movie.
I'll take the blame for that.
But building on it was different, it was enjoyable. What we were saying that staff members were allowed to bring their spouse or a significant other, and that added, a different element to it that not normally we have in city-sponsored events. And we're looking to do some other things along that line. We thought it was very encouraging and something we want to continue exploring and making happen.
Good.
Yeah.
Jerry and I went to the movies together.
Yes, Jerry liked it.
Jerry thought he wasn't going to like it. He liked it. I wasn't sure I didn't like it, but I still enjoyed being there with the city staff and just knowing that we're all here, we're all collectively working together for the same cause, and we care about each other. We're not, the council isn't just this abstract person that makes these decisions up here, and the employees aren't somebody that hopefully we're perceived as not being in touch with. We're all neighbors. We all care about what we're doing each and every day. That's kind of the feel that I got from getting together for a holiday event.
Even though Santa Claus did get beat up a little bit.
He did, a little bit, huh?
That was Elisa's problem.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to thank Karen and Kathy for putting together something different, and I hope it went out to staff that it might be different, and it's just another way the city's trying to kind of try new things and, tell the employees that we appreciate you. As a resident, I appreciate everybody, I like knowing when I hear those sirens that they're not, you know, it doesn't involve me and somebody's taking care of business, or that when the street sweeper goes by, it's getting all them leaves out of the street. Or, again, things are looking nice, and it's just nice to see things and people. And I think I commented that most people there looked rather young, and I remember when I was 23 and started with the city, and boy, that was several years ago. And when Larry first got on the council, I was still in high school, so that should tell you something.
Did he get your attention? Tell us.
So, you know, I just want to say I'm on LAFCO. That's something I want to report. And I think I mentioned at the last meeting, I went from being the alternate city representative on LAFCO to apparently I'm going to be on there until City Select Committee picks somebody for the next at least 2 meetings. I'll be doing the LAFCO meeting because apparently the Point Arena rep that was on LAFCO is stepped aside. And so that causes another vacancy on LAFCO. In fact, the executive officer sent out an email saying, please everybody show up, because we won't have a quorum unless everybody that's currently able to vote shows up. So that's all I have.
I sit on the MCOG board and the Museum Advisory Board. Both of them had meetings last week, and unfortunately I missed both meetings. And it was last minute, so I didn't have time to call you to attend MCOG. I think going forward, I would like to just appoint you for December's so that it doesn't get missed. I did talk to Supervisor Jarity to get an update on the meeting, though. It was a very light agenda, and we look forward to business in the new year. All right. Anybody have any good and welfare? I think we've been doing good and welfare.
Yeah. Just 2 quick things is that last Sunday was the Mormon Church, the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon Church here in town resumed or rekindled the annual Christmas chorale that they used to do. I think it's been 30-some years that they did it every single year, and then of course COVID hit. But so this last Sunday was the revival of that, and it was less long and it was less well attended, but it was still a very nice community event. They invite not only just churches, but the City of 10,000 Buddhas students do the gamelan stuff that they do, and so it's very cross-cultural and invite everybody's invited, and it was very nice. And then they always have cookies and cider. So next year will be even better. But that was really fun. A little community get together, and then on December 21st is the 33rd annual spiral dance for the solstice, which the 21st is the solstice, and that'll be at the Grange starting at 6:30, and it'll be a music and play and dance, and again, a really nice community event. That's one of our traditions here.
Anybody else? Good and welfare? Thank you very much, everyone. We do have a closed session item for this evening regarding conference with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, existing litigation, Alexis Wheelock versus the City of Willits, Mendocino County Superior Court case number 21CV00310. So we will have that, and if there's anything to report out, we will do that when we return. Thank you all for being here tonight.